After I finished my service as a lone soldier in the Israeli army, I realized this was my defining moment. It's time for me to build success, create stories, and the financial freedom that I never had before. I used to be trapped with money, and now it empowers me. Since then, I've developed a multi-million-dollar financial advisory business, a podcast that has been featured on all the global media stations around the world. One of my favorite things to do is educate people on the mindset to build resilient wealth, build success, and have fun doing it. In my show, you will not only get best-of-class tips, amazing stories, a bunch of laughs, but you'll also get a mindset shift from a family of people who have come from nothing and will help you be ready to succeed. Welcome to the Resilient Riches Podcast. We have this brand called Resilient Riches, and a little bit about us. We grew up in a small town in Teaneck, New Jersey, which is in some communities is a big town. And everybody else was really, really rich. And that's what I thought. Everyone's a lawyer, a doctor. There's no real, there wasn't many plumbers, even though they're the richest. But we grew up in a place where we thought everybody had money, but I looked at our own family and we didn't have money. And what we had to do is we had to learn ways to build wealth, but build wealth in a way that actually is lasting. It was building wealth in a way that's sustainable. It's building wealth that's sustainable for taxes, that's resilient for against taxes, against market crashes, against all the different things in life that will actually take away wealth. What happened to us, our wealth wasn't resilient and we lost it. But what we did afterwards, we built principles and strong foundational principles that we're going to go through today on how to actually build wealth, how to build wealth in a way that's actually consistent, strategic, tax efficient, and most importantly, having fun while doing it and not stressing anybody out. So if you can give me I'm going to try to make this as interactive as possible. So if you can give me your chat box ability, I would love to see where everybody's from, because I can be state specific and I could be non-state specific depending on wherever people are. So if you can just tell me where you are from, that I would really appreciate it. New York City, Chevy, you love paying tax. Brooklyn, Florida, you non-tax people. NYC, David, California. All right, you can hang out with our New York City people, but hopefully we don't get this crazy mayor that will try to raise tax, which he can't even do. Long Island, so a lot of New Yorkers. Anybody else? California, Florida, New York, Baltimore. Ellie, I did not forget about you. I would never. Anybody else? Atlanta. All right, so a lot of taxes here. A lot of no state tax. So we're going to talk about how to do this efficiently. Each state is going to have its own different requirements. So we could talk offline afterwards if you want to talk specifically. But and I'll bring that up. So a little bit about me. If you see me, I've been on all the major media stations around the world: Fox, Newsmax, Huffington Post, Reshet Bet, all the big ones. Talking about two things. One is talking about money, and the second is talking about how I really don't like it when people try to kill the Jews, and I really don't like that whole thing. So if they could stop that, I would really appreciate it. I'm an IDF lone soldier veteran. I served in the 𝐬𝐸𝐫𝐫 Brigade, been in Gaza a billion times pre this. And I've focused, I was in 2010, never spoke about the IDF, never thought about it. And then next thing I know, October 7th happened, and we put a lot of effort into using our platform to number one, advocate for the Jews, and then number two, actually getting other financial companies to speak up. And you'll see some of the stuff that we did in the next couple seconds. But what we do on a daily basis for our clients is we help them be most efficient in their taxes. We have saved over $25 million in client saving taxes. We work with about 1,200 high earning professionals or high net worth people that are building wealth, growing wealth, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Over 10 years of experience, I get to work with my dad every single day, which I'm very fortunate about. And it's been honestly a great place. And my dad and I have been doing this together. And we've been about 50 plus publications. This is obviously, many people here either know us by name or found us online. If you look us up, we have a great LinkedIn. We put out content every single day. We have a YouTube with about 3,500 subscribers, Instagram with about 12,500, and right now it's about 12,500 subscribers. Our Google reviews are actual clients, right now it's about over 140 5-star reviews of actual clients. So you can look that up, see what they're actually saying. These are actual people, not bots or whatever. And we have an amazing podcast with over 100,000 downloads. Michael Rappaport, Julia Hart, the controversial Julia Hart, and plenty of others, business owners, billionaires, millionaires, schmillionaires, all them. And we were talking about that too. But the thing I'm most proud of since October 7th, just I want everyone to know, is if you saw, for our New York City people, you probably saw this, there was a Torah dedication on Park Avenue that shut down the entire Park Avenue. First time that's ever happened in history. It was the largest Torah dedication in U.S. history. It was over 5,000 people. That was a Torah that was a Torah I wrote. So if anybody's seen that, on October 7th, that was ours, and we're going to do a bigger one. So for my New York City people, connect with me after. We're going to do something bigger even on October 7th again. But so our firm is a son-father business. So I started the firm, brought my dad into, and we built this together. And the goal in mind is really to help people build financial confidence. And our goal for today is to help people build financial confidence. How do you make your money work for you when you are sleeping? And many Jews don't sleep that well because they just aren't good sleepers. But how do you make your money work for you all the time? And how do we keep more of what we earn to let it grow and keep it away from Uncle Sam, Uncle Shlomi, Donald Trump, Joe Biden? I don't care. I just want to give them less money. So these are actual clients. Rose Hahn is a financial influencer with over 1 million subscribers on YouTube. So a lot of the content she gets is actually from us. Jamie Hess, the daughter of Joan London, and Lior Solomon, an Israeli who took a company public, and we saved him literally hundreds of thousands of dollars pre-IPO crashing. And that's really who we're working with: healthcare professionals, entrepreneurs, tech experts, mental health professionals, media influencers, and legal. So the seminar is going to be for two types of people. It's going to be for the people who are making tons and tons of money, but want to make more and save more and grow more. And for the people who have made money, have accumulated assets, and have either a way that they want to efficiently draw from it to live for the rest of their life comfortably. They want to continue to accumulate wealth even when they're not working, or they want to just make sure that they're protecting. But if you stay to the end, you got this great offer. We offer a full financial plan, which is typically $1,000 value for free if you stay to the end of the seminar. The reason why is because if you stay to the end of the seminar, we don't have to spend the first hour just talking about how we view money and how we view building wealth. It's going to be a big piece. And the main thing is that we want to make sure that our money, we know where it's going. And the reason why is, and the only reason why we can really tell where it's going is if we create a proper strategy and plan. So not only are we going to create a plan, understand where everything is, and then we're going to show you and give you a step-by-step guide to execute the plan and have ongoing support that we offer complimentary. So this is why people don't reach their goals. I feel like when I drive down very few Jersey people, when I drive on the turnpike in my car, every billboard says to me that I have to get injured because everybody, like every lawyer is like, you should get injured. Like everyone should be, I feel like we're in America, in order to like, part of your retirement strategy is like getting yourself injured and like suing some insurance company. So I'm like, I don't really love these fragmented approaches of just buying like product, retire here, set yourself up for this. And it's all these little things. And when my family was doing this, we did that. We bought what they were selling. We didn't choose what we were buying. They told us we need this, we purchased that. They told us put into the 401k, we purchased that. They told us don't put into here, we did that. Buy the home because you're wasting money on rent. Take out the 30-year fixed because it's safe. All these things that they sell us. And then what we did was we took generic advice. We went on YouTube. We went on, which is like, oh, they had 1 million views on this, so it must be good advice. That's irrelevant. They must be good presenters, but that doesn't mean that they're good advice. And you spoke to the people that just give generic advice, and we read the books, and we read all this stuff, but the problem is it's all disconnected. Everything goes into different places, but it doesn't have a cohesive environment. And we know to be well-rounded, we need to first know who we are as a person, who our values are, what is important for us. And in the Jewish world, and I'm sorry for the non-Jews, I feel like I'm at the new Modi special. For the non-Jews, we view college incredibly important in the Jewish community. But in the Hasidic community, they go, why would I even need college? Let's talk about a chasna. Let's talk about a wedding for our kids. That's our biggest expense. In the Jewish community, we talk about leaving money to our kids. In other communities, they go, I want to die with zero. We talk about making sure that our grandkids are set up for private school. Other people go, private school? Why wouldn't I just send to public school? We want to make sure that our kids eat kosher. Kosher is like twice the price. Our service sucks. The food's very salty, which I actually don't mind. And it's twice the price. So like we're doing these things that we can't, that are misaligned with the values. How can we take advice from places that have nothing to do with us? And the new wealth building reality comes down to we need to make sure we have enough cash because we sit on so much dry powder that it's killing our pockets. So I walked down the street this week. I live on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. And if you see me, say hello. And I walk down the streets and I see on one corner, I see 4 banks. And the reason is because we sit in cash. So much cash that the banks are building and taking every property. And in COVID, there isn't one person in there, but they're full because of this cash that we leave in the bank. The pressures of the economy, inflation, yeshiva inflation is like a 15% yield. It's killing our purchasing power, and taxes. Yes, they say they're going down, but I don't feel that they're going down. I feel like they've been going up. And what we have to do is we can't work-life balance changes completely. So people used to say, I want to retire at 50, and then they go, and now I have to retire at 55, and now I have to retire at 60, 70, 80. I might never retire because I have kids still on the payroll. My dad's very excited, just FYI, that he finally got my youngest brother, they're twins, so the older of the youngest, finally got out, and he's on his own. So he was like really, really excited. It was like a big day for him. I feel like we should have gotten him a medal, but we just didn't because he complains too much about things. So what we do is we continuously have to work to control this work-life balance, and then we want to do the things that are life responsibilities and the things that we want to do. Because things are so expensive, we support our parents. We support our community. We send to tzedakah, charity. We do all the things that we're supposed to. So I want to stop worrying about missing tax strategies, having cash flow confusion, making sure that our assets are protected properly, and that we don't build our wealth slower than we're supposed to. We don't want to be missing out. And I realize that if we continuously monitor and structure ourselves properly, we can avoid all those 4. So back to the chat box, everybody, if you don't mind humoring me, and I really appreciate everybody coming on. If you can just tell me what your biggest concern is right now. So if you just put 1 through 6, what is your biggest concern? Excessive tax burden, Don. Excessive tax burden, Simon. JM, Keith, you really don't like taxes. Chevy, no one likes taxes. 4, slow wealth building progress. It's a big one. Tax burden, missing key tax strategies is very common. Anybody else? Or remember that tax word later. I'm giving everybody a cheat code. Being financially unprotected. That's a big one. Taxes, tax burden, tax strategies. Great. And that's what we're going to talk about. So thanks, everyone, for participating. I appreciate it. So how can you get ahead? If you do what successful people achieve and you have it with clarity and confidence, and you create a family office around yourself and you focus and delegate on your strengths. And what is your strength? Your strength is making a ton of money and delegating what your strength, what isn't. And you follow a structured, cohesive plan. That's how you will go on. So back to the chat box. When I ask what's your number, it's vague, but I'm asking what is a lot of money to you? So if you put down a number, what is your number, and what would be, if you said what is a lot of money for me, what would that number be? So if you can go back in the chat box, what is your number on financials? 5 million. 5 million? Don't stay everybody 5 million. Not 300 million. Paula, nice. David, 20. Harrison, 15. Paul, I think you've won. 10 million, 10 to 20 million. Jewel, thank you. Simon. And I want Powerball, Powerball is 950 million. Chevy, appreciate you. 6 million, that would be a lot of money. Yeah, I would actually agree with that. 6 million, Alan, cool. Miriam Adelson has a lot of money. I just want everybody to know she's really got tons and tons of cash. I've met her before and multiple times, and she's really got. She like wears this dress that's like made out of diamonds. I was like, that dress must be like 5 million bucks. It's pretty impressive. And she gives a lot to tzedakah, which I appreciate. So 6 million. All right. So there's two sides of this. Money, the money game, is built around two ways. How do we win the money game? We win the money game by making more. It's simple, making more. And I believe in common sense and just basic financial principles, making more than we spend. So for some people, they say to me $1 million is enough. Why? Because they only spend $40,000 a year. They have Social Security that brings in 20. They have some of their investments are giving them $5,000 a month, $6,000 a month. So for them, that's a lot of money. They don't need any more than that. But it depends on how much we spend versus how much we actually need. For some people who say more, it's because their life is more expensive. For some people who say their life is less expensive. So how the wealth grow it, and this is really where we're going to talk about how deep and we're going to go. It's going to be a lot of information, and I get I wouldn't say complaint, but I get the feedback that's a lot of information, but I want to give as much language as possible. So the wealth are going to get ahead in 3 tiers. How to build wealth. They grow their wealth with portfolio management and making sure their cash is not sitting idle. They look at different investment options, strategic investment options, alternative investments that are publicly traded, safe, secure, doing really well, but just not putting money into the S&P 500 100% of their money. They have asset protection, and they view it on life stage planning, protection strategies, and they tax minimize. They use their assets. They don't use their income. They use their assets to live, not their income. Portfolio management, growing wealth, cash management, and investing discipline. So let's talk about 3 of those tiers. So first, portfolio management, for example. If you're somebody who puts $50,000 a year, $50,000 in 1 year, 20 years ago, and you put it in a conservative asset, a conservative portfolio earning 5%, you would approximately have quadrupled your money over a 20-year period to $202,000. But if you put it into a more aggressive, didn't do anything different, because we know when we have our kids and everything's really expensive, that's our expense years. So there's not much we can save on a day-to-day basis, but we can change the outlook of our portfolio that we have. And if we move it to a more aggressive portfolio, we're talking about it can just doing one simple switch, $281,000. So instead of being conservative, if we have a longer period of time, we go a little bit more aggressive. Then the second asset is how do we protect our portfolio and how do we build it the fastest and best way possible? So the example is I put $750,000 into a portfolio. I left it alone for 20 years. I'd have about 1.989 million. Great. If I earn 5% a year, wonderful. If I diversified, if I put some money in a 6.5% return, some money in a 6% return, and the third, I went super aggressive. I gave it to my friend Shlomi, who lives in Borough Park, and he's just hanging out, and he just ripped me off, and that was the end of it. And I lost everything. And it went to zero. I would still have more money than I would if I went into a single investment. The second part of it is if I diversify well, I can then go and put money into riskier investments. I can go invest in myself because I knew that I diversified my money, and now I can go and take advantage of an opportunity. So all the people that have built tremendous wealth, they've diversified their assets so that they can take risk. Their portfolio can tolerate risk. They can take a chance of losing a portion of their wealth by still maintaining the lifestyle that they choose to. Then you talk about cash, which is like as I said, I hate cash. So what is too much cash? If you have more than 3 months of expenses, that's a lot of cash. So if you're a business, you have 3 months or more of expenses, that's your business. But what we do is we balance the access to capital, how much we're taking from our cash and need it for tomorrow, with the opportunity costs that we're losing. So we take too much safety in our cash because we don't put it in. And I call it cash glut. And what will happen is people will put money into the market, and stay disciplined by putting that in. But all of a sudden, when the markets come down, all of a sudden they hide in cash. The market comes down a little more, they put more in cash. And they forget about their discipline and they keep too much in cash and they put it, oh, the high yield money market's giving me 4%. That's great. But we're not keeping up with inflation. And then I call it Jewflation, which is like 18% a year because you talk about going to Israel, which is the El Al world. So if you are somebody who's just living in Chase or Bank of America or any of these places, let's talk about just like getting that money out today. You could put it in high yield money markets, CDs, treasury bills, high yield savings accounts. You could put in money market funds, short-term bond funds if you want a little higher yield, fixed annuities. Jamie, welcome. Or T-bills. I remember Dan's deals was like pushing T-bills big time, and everyone, all the Chabad guys all bought T-bills. Then you can use it also in insurance products because if you want guarantees, insurance products can offer that. Cash value in life insurance policies, fixed index annuities, guaranteed income, structured settlement annuities. So if we invest, we can go stocks, real estate, crypto, bonds, collectibles. But how we invest is the only thing that we can control, and this is the discipline. So where is most of the money? Where is most of the money in the country right now? Where is most of the assets? Mutual funds. Anybody else? Guessing cash, stocks, real estate. I'm gonna give a secret. The first guy was very smart. Most of our money is actually of liquid money, not in real estate, is actually in retirement plans. Retirement accounts. A, thank you. Thank you. And why? And it's all because of this one foundational principle. It's called dollar cost averaging. So if we have a 401k plan, and what happens is it comes automatically out of our paycheck. People go, oh, I'm not saving any money. It's like, well, you just put $23,000 a year into a 401k account. But what happens and why does it build so quickly and why does it build so well? Tax advantage, great. But we put it every single other week. It's an automatic discipline. So the expression is investors don't perform, investments do. Retirement plans with structured savings do well, even though I don't like how they're invested, but that's a different thing in itself. But every month we're putting in and we do something called dollar cost averaging. We buy the market in over time and we stay true to our investing discipline automatically. So I am a huge believer in making sure that we have an investment discipline that controls and actually helps us build wealth. So now the second side is how do we actually take advantage of this investing discipline and what's the actual concrete numbers? Because numbers is all that really matters here. If Jane, or it depends who I'm talking to, it could be Mushka. If Mushka puts $6,000 a year for 10 years from 25 to 35, and she held it for 30 years, how much would she have? $675,000. But if Mendel waited for 10 years, he was all in Kollel, he couldn't get out of it, he was just studying and studying and studying, and he said, I'll deal with money later, and started making money at 35 years old, and he put $6,000 a year for 30 years. Mushka would have more money than Mendel. And if you go just an insight on the Satmar community and the Chabad community, I won't sit with the Satmar guy because we were on like Ami magazine. I couldn't get out of Ami magazine if anyone's familiar, and I sit with these Satmar guys and I go, I'm not talking to you unless your wife is there because they like know way more. So like their wives are like, oh, I secretly have money here that I didn't tell my husband. Like it's a lot of like secret, like don't tell her husband because he like doesn't know. But they're like The women are like geniuses. Like it's really unbelievable. If you want to hire a good employee, hire a Satmar woman that's got like 18 kids. Like you're gonna do really well. Just some advice. But what happens is if we start early, giving to our kids early, and actually having time, we're going to do much better. So has anyone familiar, I'm just going to open this up. Is anyone familiar with standard deviation or drawdown? Say yes, no in the chat box if you don't mind. Harrison, thank you. Okay, a little. Anybody else? Great. Not really. So let's get into standard deviation because it is really important. I'm going to try to. So how standard deviation, if you have an average of 8%, when you're up, it's going to go up. When you're down, and we're going to average 8%. But there's a line of growth over time. So if you make more money one year, great, it went 20%. But if you lost a lot of money one year, it went down 20%. So, and it's very similar, Simon. If it goes down 20%, so what's going to happen is that if you have $100, and follow the numbers with me if you don't mind, if you have $100 and it made 10% one year, so you're at 110, and the following year you went down 10%, you're not back at 100, you're at 99. Then you made 10% again the following year, so your 99 is now at 109 and change. So, but if we just made money, so we never really made money because what happened was on the way down, we went farther down. On the way up, we went slower up. So when you look at a portfolio, and I don't care what the Morningstar rating is, when you look at a portfolio, check out the standard deviation. Don't look at the percentages. Look at the dollars, because all that matters is how much money is in the portfolio at the end of the time. So you put money into something that has $100 and it shows a 12%. Let's say on average, it shows an 8% yield. So at the end of it, in 10 years, you had $100, there were 200. Then you look at a different portfolio and had a 6% yield over time. And at the end of it, instead of it had $200, it had $220. And you go, what do you mean? This did 6%, that one did 8%. It doesn't make sense. The reason why it pulls it is because of the standard deviation. So farther away from the 8% on average, the worse your real dollars are actually going to be. So when you look at a portfolio, making sure that when you look at it, what is my real dollars in this strategy and in this portfolio? Now, drawdown is how much of a loss will you have when the markets come down? When the markets come down, not if. How much will your portfolio lose when the markets come down? So let's just recap quickly. We talked about portfolio management, how to strategically invest and grow and build wealth, how much cash is too much cash, and what happens when the markets come down and our stomachs hurt because it's scared. It hurts so much to put more money into the market, and what investing disciplines allow us to grow and how we should look at portfolios. It is very hard to manage and pick stocks and really build a portfolio that outperforms a portfolio in general. It's like 3.9% lower are the stock pickers compared to portfolio management. But if we have a strong discipline and we understand the real key factors and what we are seeing, the behind the scenes, we will do much better. Yeah, I guess you're talking about liquidity. So if you have cash, yeah, you could be able to take your money out sooner. I'm not really following your question. Yeah, so if you are somebody that has to take out money earlier, then you don't put it into super aggressive investments. You don't do that. You structure everything around something called market cycles, 4 to 8 year periods. If you're somebody that's going to buy a home in the next year or 2 years, and you go more cash, you go more conservative. If you're somebody that's looking to build your wealth over a longer period of time, you build your wealth over a longer period of time and put in more aggressive strategies. It's all about looking at your money and taking a bias out of it. So thank you for the question, Don. Any other questions? All right. Yes. So asset protection. How do we protect what we built? Anya, so are we talking about managing volatility instead of just chasing returns? The answer is yes. How do we manage our wealth in terms of the ups and downs? How does your portfolio fare compared to the indexes? How does your portfolio fare in compares to your lifestyle? That is really what we're talking about. How do we compare it instead of just chasing investment returns? Most people don't chase investment returns. Most people chase what's important to them in life. Investment returns are not. How do we structure it so that our kids live the lifestyle that we want to live? How do we structure it around the things that we find important? And that's, Anya, that's a great question. I hope that answered it. So asset protection. There's comprehensive protection when we talk about multiple layers of defense for our wealth, legal structures, insurance strategies, and financial planning. So if we take advantage of these, we'll protect our wealth. So what will happen? People will sue us. If you're a doctor, lawyer, personal liability, someone sees your big house and then they trip and they go, "Oh, sorry, you hit me," or they see your car and they go, "Great, a BMW. I'm gonna get run over. I'm gonna try to get the money from the insurance." That will happen at some point. I mean, it's too much marketing that we, as I said before, that people want to get injured, so they want to find the best car to get injured or for the best house to get injured. It's really I think it's like marketing abuse in my opinion. But we want to make sure that we have business disputes, personal and professional liability. We're covered when it comes to our health risks. Disability insurance is covering us in case we are unable to work. So if we are an earner, so a doctor, for example, and they are unable to practice, disability insurance is going to come in and take care of it. So it's a income replacement. If you have high expenses, which we all do, disability insurance is super crucial to make sure that we cover our expenses without having to tap into our savings or tap into a GoFundMe page. Making sure that you have the proper life insurance. We're going to talk about life insurance in a few minutes with critical illness or critical illness long-term care. For if anyone has dealt with long-term care, it is incredibly expensive. If you've ever dealt with AIDS, you can cover those and protect against those. And we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. And the main thing is market risks. Do we have too much in one position? Do we take money out in the wrong time? Do we have speculative investments, and are we properly diversified? So the first line of defense is life insurance, disability, liability coverage, and umbrella protections, umbrella policies. Make sure the insurance companies are covering these assets, not your cash. The insurance companies are cheap. They do it really efficiently, and they're way better than self-insuring. I don't know any ultra-high net worth person that says to me, "I'm going to self-insure my car." They just don't say it. What they'll do is they'll make sure that they pay pennies on the dollar and make sure that they properly have umbrella policies. Hulk Hogan, Baruch Danemet, didn't have an umbrella policy and got sued for millions of dollars, and it actually led to his divorce. It's a really interesting story. So the legal structures, and Don, we're going to get into that in a few minutes. The legal structures are LLCs, FLPs, family limited partnerships, or corporate vehicles, making sure that we have revocable trusts properly set up. We have LLCs for our businesses and our real estate, and we have family limited partnerships that we're passing to the next generation. And estate planning, big mistake that people make. They don't have a will, they don't have trust, they don't have advanced directives, they don't have power of attorneys. For example, if in my will, if something were to happen to me, I want to make sure that my kids are taken care of. But I trust my dad. He works with me. He knows my assets. He knows my business. He knows exactly what my wife's lifestyle. He knows my wife is required to buy 1 to 2 purses a year, just part of the game. Persian, Chevy, you know them. And the main thing is that I need him to manage my assets. So making sure that's properly structured. That's not something we do, but we can refer. But making sure we're planning for life events, having children, buying properties, business changes, and retirement planning. These are the big pieces that people are going through and planning for them. So this is the least attractive person at the party, but one of the most important. I'm just going to start with, what is life insurance not? Not what life insurance is. Let's talk about what it is not. It is not. Every life insurance broker gets mad at me when I do this because it's true. It is not a super investment. It is not the Swiss Army knife of investing strategies. What it is, it's an incredibly important asset class, But what it is, it's for family protection, covering lost income. Make sure that you have a legacy preservation. So if I'm somebody who says, I want to leave money to my kids, or I have responsibilities after I pass, they have life insurance for their kids and they grow their wealth and they use their money to live on. So they can spend all that and leave money to their kids. They can use it for cash value accumulation, tax advantage growth, and you can access the policies through loans and withdrawals. Now, in life insurance policies, you can take from there are some carriers out there, and we recommend this for all life insurance policies, if it makes sense for that person that needs life insurance. You can take from the death benefit for a life insurance policy and use that money in your life. So life insurance policies can pull out death benefit in their life to cover long-term care, which is approximately $10,000 to $15,000 a month from a life insurance policy, illness protection, critical, chronic, terminal illness, or terminal illness, or critical injury, I apologize. So these are incredibly powerful assets. Now, if you put money into the policy, the money, the cash value, I want everyone to understand how it works, can go after tax premiums. The premium grows tax deferred, can be accessed potentially tax-free via policy loans and withdrawals, and tax-free death benefit. The living benefits comes out also tax-free if you have that in your policy. But you use the life insurance policy while you draw it down for long-term care or illness or whatever you choose to. So you can use it to protect your assets against liquidation. It's cash-like stability. It offers easy access to funds, and it is a conservative position. I'm sorry to say, everybody. It's not some super investment. It's not there for that. Now, when you are building assets, it is so important to have something called a buffer asset. So when you are pulling down from your wealth, this is another point with drawdown risk, pulling from your funds. Either drawdown is through investment, just loss of market returns, or actually pulling money out. That when the markets are down, we pull from a conservative asset. When the markets are up, we pull from the market that are up. We do not pull money when the markets are down. So just a recap, and I'm going to open up some questions. Comprehensive protection, legal structures, insurance strategies, and financial planning. Those are the 4 parts of that. Any other questions? Okay, so approximate cost for long-term care, probably around $15,000 a month, depending on where you want to go to. If you have assets, I don't recommend Medicaid. If it's no assets and you can qualify for Medicaid, Medicaid's a good option for some people. There's a lot of trusts and things like that. You do still have the life insurance if you are pulling money from it. And I think those are the only 2 questions that Don has. Don, you're a great audience member. I appreciate you. Any other questions before we move on? All right, let's get to it. So pop quiz, everybody. Pop quiz. We are back in Yeshiva in Far Rockaway. What is your biggest expense in life? The number 1 biggest expense. Matan, it was just so easy for you. Tax. I usually get like mortgage. I get a lot of like tuition, kids' school. Dan, thank you. College, tax, followed by housing. Chevy, thank you. Tax. Great. Any other questions? Any other answers? Anybody else have huge expenses? Tuition. Yep. So massive rent. All right. Biggest expense is tax. So we get taxed in 4 ways. Number 1, or Jews get taxed in 5 ways. Number 1, income tax. 2, sales tax. 3, capital gains tax. 4, estate tax. 5, the Jew tax. Everything has to be more expensive at the Pesach program. And for some reason, Pesach programs are like a hit. I never understood it. But our biggest expense is our tax burden. So let's minimize that. I am a big supporter for, I'm a big Hunter Biden 2028. I'm going to call it the great comeback. I'm just going to be his first guy. I'm not actually endorsing him because Doesn't really make sense here, but let's not give him a lot of money. Property tax too. Thank you, Dan. Property tax too. Whatever we own, we are getting taxed all the time. So tax minimization is how do we actually do this efficiently? So we have tax advantage investment vehicles, asset location, properly placing for tax efficiency, and timing techniques. How do we recognize income, gains, and losses, and legal entities and ownership models? So the biggest mistake people are making is that they don't put into their 401k plans. The biggest planning windows is that they're skipping year-end tax moves, Roth conversions, or tax loss harvesting. Tax loss harvesting. I'm going to say it again. Tax loss harvesting. Why does Warren Buffett have so many bajillions of dollars? Because he tax loss harvests all the time. He goes, everyone goes, he dumped American Airlines and then bought Delta. That's tax loss harvesting. You sell a position that isn't doing well, and you buy a like-kind position, you get the losses and you offsuit gains. He does that better than anyone. There's overlooked decisions and deductions, charitable giving, donor advised funds. We care about charity. This is a big thing that we actually do, and it's a wonderful thing. Kids planning. Why are we not setting properly our kids up when we can do it in a tax-efficient way? There's smart gifts for kids. You could set insurance policies for them. It's wonderful. So we have to understand the accounts. And this is a lot, and this is a big slide. I could do this slide for all day. You got a bunch of scams in here that are not great, and there's a bunch of really good stuff. So I'm going to take out my handy-dandy pointer. It's because I have young kids, and I think in Bluey and Blippy. So our goal is to take our taxable accounts and move them to tax-free accounts. So if we have money in our savings brokerage mutual funds, which is like the tax ridiculous investing, if you have non-qualified mutual funds, we should have a conversation. So if you have a taxable account that is not being done efficiently, you can move it over to tax-free accounts. So you have a savings account, brokerage accounts, mutual funds, money market accounts, certificates of deposit, and qualified annuities if you're taking out income. The tax-deferred accounts allow for, if I have $100 and it grows to $1,000, I can pay taxes when I pull the money out. I don't pay taxes while it's growing. So SEP IRAs for the business owners, simples, traditional 401ks if you're employee or employer sponsored plan, 1031 exchange for real estate owners, 457s and 529 plans, deferred for a later point. But then we want to get to the holy grail of taxes, not pay much in tax with our tax-free vehicles. Roth IRAs, Roth 401ks, 457, savings accounts, education savings accounts, HSAs, and life insurance. Those are going to be your best ways. Just going to erase all this. So here's some tax efficiency examples. Sarah and Mike miss their 401k match. They don't convert money into their Roth IRA, into their backdoor Roth, and they withdraw in the wrong order. So this is a conversation I had today. Person's biggest fear is that if he has too much income in retirement, then he will have to pay the Medicare B and it'll come out of his Social Security. He'll get hit. It's like a secret Medicare tax that they have. If you make too much money, you're going to have to pay Medicare Part B and Part C. It's actually a higher number. There's ways around it, but it's not so simple. And people don't care because it comes out of Social Security anyway, so they don't even think about it. And it's like a great way for the government to scam us for extra retirement money. So they withdraw money in the wrong order, take too much out up front, too much out each year. They're not getting credits for it. Now, if you make over $150,000, you're not getting the credit on Social Security or on your income. Then the business owner is not maximizing business deductions and expenses. It costs them about $120,000 over 10 years. They miss retirement plan contributions, $85,000 a year, and then no exit or succession tax planning. Now, the biggest tax that people are going to have is capital gains tax. How do we avoid capital gains tax? If we put money into a strategy, let's just talk about what the problem is. The biggest tax that somebody will pay the biggest problem that somebody will pay in the most amount of tax that you're going to pay in your retirement is actually capital gains. Because we have to sell positions that we've had for such a long period of time and actually take that to live on it. It's not as much in your 401ks because that's a lower tax bracket. It's actually capital gains. The tax system is very, very smart. So let's just say a low tax bracket of 15%. If we put money into it, the cost of having it in a non-tax efficient way is going to be, let's say, 15%. That could be an $11,000 difference. HSAs allow, and I love HSAs, that you can grow the money tax-free. You can get a deduction for it today. You grow it tax-free. You pull the money out tax-free, and it pays for Medicare Part B. It qualifies. But if we do it in a Roth IRA, now the growth in a Roth IRA, which is why I love Roth IRAs, and let's just say this is $6,000, now it's a bit, it's higher. If you did it in a Roth IRA, you put $6,000 a year for 20 years. If it was taxable, it'd be $187. If it's tax-free, it'd be $233. These are easy moves that take a few minutes a year to save significant amounts of money in tax. Now, Roth 401ks. These, if you work for an employer, check in the plan if there's a Roth 401k. You can put much higher limits, $23,000, over $23,000 into a Roth 401k that will allow you to grow tax-free. It is a wonderful vehicle. If one just quick tax strategy, if I'm not boring anybody, but if you put money into a Roth 401k and you still, let's say you put money into your 401k and you have $10,000 left that you can put in, you don't maximize it. Take some after-tax brokerage money that's not doing well and move that, or cash, and move that into your Roth 401k. If it's cash, put it into the money market. So now you're going to get all this tax-free growth. It's the same cash. If you're over 59 and a half, you can start pulling money from it, but you have a lot of benefits by using the Roth 401k. So, and I find the problem is that CPAs, that we rely on our CPAs to do the tax strategy, but they're such an abused profession. I feel bad. If you see a CPA in the street, give them some money, give them a chalk, I give them something, because they're like the most abused people. And because they're focused on just trying to get you up to date and everybody up to date. And they don't get paid a lot. And they're really focused on, like, how do we coordinate all your stuff, but they don't really think in the future. So we were so passionate about it that we actually retain a CPA in our firm, and we talk to the CPA constantly that is just doing tax roadmaps and just looking at your tax return and saying, here's a couple suggestions that I would have. If you go, I want to use you, great, that's your deal with him. That has nothing to do with us. If you say, I want to take your advice and go and bring it back to my CPA and ask him what he's doing wrong, 100% go out and do it. But it is such a thing for us that we really need to create a tax roadmap for ourselves. It's really hurting us, especially on the business owner side. So I just want to stop here for a minute. Tax minimization recap. I just want to be conscious of time because we're running up. We went into tax advantage investment vehicles, strategic placement for tax efficiency, proper structures, and timing. So let's talk about what you could do next. So I am someone who likes to take action like that minute. I believe in execution. But my first view of it is evaluating your position, defining a clear direction, and then creating a structured plan. And the options are to talk to our friends and family, do it yourself, work with a current advisor. And one thing that I say on the advisors, your advisor's job is to justify their existence. If you have a personal trainer and you go every single week and you're not getting stronger, fire the personal trainer. If you have an accountant that's not helping you save taxes, fire your accountant. If you have a rabbi that's not getting more spiritual, then fire your rabbi. But the financial advisor is a really expensive piece. It's probably one of the biggest expenses that you'll have. So making sure that you actually have a financial advisor that's really working well for you. And I viewed it, and once my family, and we were talking about this at the beginning, is once my family understood what are we really good at and what are we not really good at. And we started to create this family office for ourselves and talk to people that actually helped us and helped us structure better. And we create this professional excellence for ourselves and professional community around us. And then we decided, okay, let's create a resilient riches blueprint, which is what we do for all our clients and anybody that goes through the seminar. We create a values alignment to make sure that our alignment stands with our values. We create financial clarity through that, strategic design, and then most important, if anybody knows me, I am the master executor. People go like, oh, I'm the hardest worker in the street. I'm the hardest this, I'm the hardest that. I am the best executor that you can find. That is really where I'm going to be good at. And that's really where our strength is. So if you are somebody that wants to take advantage of that, we offer, as I said, there is a complimentary session of 1 hour, of 30 minutes to an hour. And if there's more to talk about, if you have other thoughts, therapy questions that you have, talk to us. But that's really it for today. I'm gonna leave it open for some Q&A. I hope everybody enjoyed. I hope everybody took some value out of this, and I hope everybody, if you are making too much money, you go off on your own. All this extra money that you made, please give it to tzedakah because there's a lot of people who need it. Thank you, Daniel, for putting the calendar link in the chat box. I really appreciate you, and I really appreciate everybody for being here. I'm just going to give a quick thank you to everybody in the room because I do value and respect your time. So Simon, thanks for staying on. Chevy, thanks for the positive energy. Really appreciate you. Jamie, Matan, Matt, Don, Daniel, David, L, JM, TS, Shira, Anya, Jewel, Adam, E, Iman, Bruce, 𝐬𝐨𝐫𝐞, Dan, and 𝐬𝐨𝐫𝐞. You're on twice, so you're saving double the amount of strategy. I'm just going to open it up for questions. So Jamie, just because I appreciate you doing this, I appreciate you opening yourself up. Thanks, I'm self-employed, and I've bank managed SEP IRA and a self-directed stock account. I don't have a 401k. When I use ADP to pay myself, so taxes will be taken care of. They urge me to set up a 401k for myself. Should I? Honestly, most people do. I do really recommend it. A SEP IRA is pretty limited depending on how much you want to put into, but it's a more custom. I need to know a little bit more context, like what's your income versus what's your expenses? Do you have enough cash flow? Are you looking to grow tax-free? Like these are the questions that we're going to be asking before we give that advice. That's where I really like to do the assessment. But yeah, it's probably a good strategy. I'm sorry, but the banks they're not really great at doing this stuff and really helping people out. They're really giving the generic advice that I was talking about at the beginning. But Jamie, thank you for the question. And I hope that helped answer. But yes, typically I am seeing more of it. If we can add value, then great. If we can't add value, then I'm happy. And I just like to meet good people. And I like to see if we're the right fit. And if we're not the right fit, that's great too. And if you need some referrals or references, we're happy to. And if you need some tzedakahs in Israel, I have direct contacts to help our people that are going through it. And I really appreciate everybody coming on. And I really appreciate everybody for standing united. All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much. This content is for informational, educational purposes only and does not constitute individualized investment, tax, or legal advice. References to past client experiences, tax savings, media appearances, or reviews are not a guarantee of future outcomes. Resilient Riches is presented by 𝐬𝐿 doing business as Common Financial, an investment advisor representative of the Partners Wealth Management and SEC-registered investment advisor. The complimentary financial plan is subject to eligibility and does not obligate participation in advisory services. All investments involve risk, including the possible loss of principal. Strategies discussed may not be suitable for all investors. Clients and prospective clients should consult with a qualified financial tax professional before making any investment decision.